Hello, everyone. My name is Tenitria Williams, and welcome back to Minding My Mental Health. I have been on a little hiatus for a while, so we haven't had any broadcasts, but we are back. Today is May the 1st. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I thought, what a great time to come back with Minding My Mental Health. So I know, again, we've been out for a while, but I think this is a really amazing time for us to get started. So what I want to do just before we even get rolling is to share this video with people. So hopefully they will join us today. So I'm going to go and do just that. I'm going to share this video so we can get some people on here, because I think what we're talking about today is very needed. It's very important. And I'm excited, honestly, about this topic. And today we're going to be talking about how to calm our nervous system down. This is really important, especially with dealing with trauma. So again, I want us to get in here. If you're watching, I want you to hashtag live. Let me know where you are watching from. And I want you to share this. I want you to share it with your friends, your family, tag your friends, everybody you can think of. Go ahead and begin to hashtag live. Again, let me know where you're watching from and share this video to your page so that we can get some more people on here. Again, I want to say, hey, Venetia, welcome. Please share the video, like the video, all of that stuff. And tag your friends and family so that they can be a part of what we're doing today. So today we're talking about being healed and whole. And we're talking again about calming our nervous system and renewing our minds after trauma, and calming the nervous system. This is something that a lot of people don't understand. When we're talking about mental health, I always say this. This is not just the mental. It's mental health, but we are a part of a greater system, right? And so we have to deal with the mind, the body, and the soul, right? And so we're going to deal with all of that today. We're going to focus on some things, but what I want to do is give some really practical tools so you can learn ways that you can begin to regulate your system, right? So if you have experienced any type of trauma, I think this is going to be really helpful for you. If you know of someone who's experienced trauma or constantly experience them, even if they say, oh, I'm fine, it doesn't bother me, go ahead and tag them anyway. Go ahead and hashtag this, put it on your story, put it on your page, share, all of those things. Why? Because it's really important. Now, if you know me, you know that I am a Christian. I am a believer. And one of the things I do is I attend what we call Inner Circle with Sean Strickland. And one of the things she taught on her video, she does a video called Strategies for Success on Mondays. And one of the things she talked about was rewiring the brain on Monday. And I got really excited because that's some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. But I also got excited because that's some things that I've been learning and using and implementing in my practice. Hey, Pastor Sean, I just talked about you. I don't know if you heard it. So if you have not gone and watched her video, again, the name is Sean Dennis Strickland. Go and watch her video. What we're going to talk about today is something that will complement the things that she talked about on Monday. If you have not watched that video, she goes heavy into the spiritual realm of how to break free, rewiring the brain. So do not miss that. So go back. This video is going to be complementary to some things that she said. And also we're going to I'm probably going to review a little bit about some of the things that she talked about, but I don't want you to miss that. So go back and watch that video. And again, we're going to jump right into this. So again, we're talking about a pretty powerful topic today. And so we're going to talk about the foundations of everything. Thank you for saying I look pretty. So our foundational scripture is Romans 12:2, and it says, do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And oftentimes when people hear that, they think I just have to change the way I'm thinking. I am a proponent of changing the way you think, but there are also, and I say this, if you watched my old lives and all that, you will know I talk about, there's a difference between our mind and our brain. Those are two different functioning parts of our body. There's also things that happen internally in our bodies that we have to regulate, as well as shifting our mindset. And together that makes a powerful combination. So We're talking about healing and calming your nervous system after trauma. What is trauma? Well, trauma is a number of things. And oftentimes what we label as trauma is one specific event. I was raped. I was molested. I was sexually, physically abused or something like that. Those are traumatic things, but trauma can be prolonged poverty. Trauma can be prolonged dealing with systematic racism. Trauma can be so many things, living through natural disasters, a parent leaving or abandoning you or dying. All of those things can be really traumatic. One of the people that is one of the leaders when it talks about healing from trauma, he wrote this quote and it says, trauma is not just what happens to you, it's also what happens inside of you because of what happened to you. So it's not just the event that happened to you, it's the way your body responds and rewires and holds on to those things that is also traumatic for us. So we have to learn not to just be able to recognize that was traumatic, but to be able to shift things inside of our bodies so that we can function in a healthy, healed way. Again, go back because Pastor Sean deals with the spiritual part very well. I'm not going to dig into that really deeply. I want you to go back and watch that video because she does an amazing job. Please, even if you think you haven't experienced trauma, go back because I promise you'll benefit from it. It's how your nervous system holds on to fear, pain, and powerlessness. All of that is inside of our bodies. I have seen children who have experience traumatic things, and it could be the smallest thing. It could be they dropped a lollipop and you can literally say, but I have another lollipop, and they will still stand there and you will see them either break down, lash out, or totally freeze up, and it seems like they can't move forward. That is something inside their bodies that is trying to keep them safe. And so we're going to talk about some different things. First, we're going to talk about our nervous system, a little bit about our brain, and then we're going to get into some very practical steps that you can do to begin to recenter your body so that your nervous system can be calm. So the first thing, most of us have heard about fight or flight. It is the thing in our nervous system that prepares us for danger. Right. So there are actually 4 different responses when we're talking about our nervous system. There's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And so I want to talk about each one of those briefly. You guys share this video, share it, tag somebody that you know that possibly has experienced some trauma. Just share it anyways. Anybody you think could benefit from this, go ahead and share this video. So the 4 different responses that our nervous system will have is fight. What is fight? Fight is when something happens and we perceive danger. Danger doesn't have to be real. It just has to be perceived. Your body, your brain has to believe that there is something there that is not safe. So if your body perceives that it's not safe, it can go into fight mode. Fight mode is irritability, it's anger, it's being controlling, or it may even be an explosive reaction. But the fight is preparing you for a war, right? Then there's flight. When we have flight mode, our body is preparing to get away from the situation. So you have avoidance with flight mode. You have anxiety with flight mode. It may even be overworking or feeling like you have to escape. So if you're in a situation, it gets uncomfortable, you go, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. That is flight. You're trying to leave. So when tough conversations happen, if you're in a relationship and your spouse and you guys begin to talk and have a tough conversation, if you say, I got to get out of here, you probably operate primarily from the flight response. Then there's the freeze response. And the freeze response is feeling stuck, feeling numb. It's like, I know it's danger, but I can't do anything. So you just kind of get stuck in that. Sometimes you mentally check out. If you have people, you'll see people sometimes that have experienced trauma and you go, they're always in their own little world. They just daze out. They just can't focus. That is a freeze response. And then you have the fawn response. This one doesn't get a lot of recognition, but it is very prominent. A lot of people do it. They don't recognize what it is. The fawn response is people pleasing. So you ignore what you need and you try to please people around you so that you can get a sense of safety. Because your body is saying we need to feel safe. So if you're angry at me, what I'm going to do is try to make you happy. I'm going to just try to please you. And so you just begin to fawn all over the person that may actually be angering you on the inside, but you try to side with them. You see those types of things when you're dealing with like Stockholm syndrome. They're trying to please the abuser to a place so they can feel safe. Right. So even though somebody may be talking crazy, you still go, I just want to make them happy. I just want to. And sometimes it'll look like love. It's actually a fawn response of saying, I'm trying to create a sense of safety inside my body. So you think you're trying to keep the peace, really, you're trying to feel safe. There is a theory that I have been studying probably over a year now. It's called the polyvagal theory. And it kind of explains our nervous system constantly. And so basically our nervous system is always looking for threats or safety. Your nervous system is constantly, when you walk into a room, your nervous system is going, is it safe? Is there danger? It's constantly looking for safety or threat. And when we experience chronic stress, especially with trauma, it can get us trapped in survival mode. Can you spell polyvagal? Polyvagal. Polyvagal. Polyvagal theory. So basically that trauma or that scanning always keeps us in survival mode. So when we walk in, it's like, I got to see if I'm safe or not. So constantly your body is already what? It's tense, right? So I often say this, but the things that helped you to survive are often the things that are going to stop you from being able to thrive. I'm going to say that again. The thing that helped you to survive is often the very thing that will stop you from thriving. Why? Because your body is designed, all of this nervous system, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, all of that is designed to help you to survive. But if you get stuck in those places, you cannot thrive because your body requires you to be able to be adapted. Okay. So that's our nervous system. I want to talk about that really quickly. Now I want to talk about the brain for a moment. Trauma in the brain. So trauma doesn't just impact us emotionally. It also rewires and reshapes what happens inside of our physical brain. The good news is, and I tell people all the time, this is why I am a counselor. I don't believe that because you had something happen, you are now stuck there forever. If I didn't believe you could change, I wouldn't be in this profession. We were taught as little kids that the brain cells didn't replenish and they didn't grow and you couldn't change things. That was very static. And in fact, I remember that being some of the teaching when they were talking about not smoking marijuana, and they would say marijuana kills your brain cells and all of your brain cells replenish except all of your body cells replenish except your brain cells. And so you don't want to smoke marijuana. And that was kind of the sticking point of your brain is so concrete and it doesn't have much elasticity. It's just the way things are. However, we have learned, thankfully, that is not the case, that our brain actually can begin to change and shift and you can rewiring. So healing, just like trauma can hurt the brain or reshape the brain, healing can also reshape and your brain. So that's really good. So we're going to talk about a couple parts of the brain that are really important to us being calm. Let me know if this is making sense. If you guys have any questions along the way, let me know. So we're going to talk about 3 different parts of the brain, why they are important. And I know this kind of may seem a little nerdy. Stick with me. I'm going to help you get some really practical tools of how to keep your body calm. So the first one is the amygdala. I call her, because I'm a Black woman and we give people nicknames, I call her Little Miggy. Little Miggy is always ready. Little Miggy is always ready to jump. Right? Little Miggy is always looking if it's danger. Think about the amygdala or Little Miggy as your little cousin that if you tell them somebody has messed with you, the Little Miggy is always like, well, let's ride out. Okay, so it's the alarm system. The amygdala is the part of the brain that senses danger and sounds the alarm. Okay, it's like, okay, yes, you can call her that too, Little Miggy. The amygdala. So after trauma, our amygdala becomes overactive. Okay, so our amygdala becomes overactive and it's constantly sending out fear signals. So it's always like, let's do it. We're in danger. So it's always on edge, right? So even when there's no real threat, the amygdala is sending so much information out saying that there is danger in our body. So what will happen if you have an overactive amygdala is you'll always be hypervigilant, always looking around. You can't get settled because you always feel like there's danger around. Emotional reactivity. You respond real quickly. You don't think about it. You don't press the pause button. And people say, I go from 0 to 100 without thinking about it. You absolutely do. You have an overactive amygdala. And so you're working really, really hard to be on guard and ready for whatever. You have a lot of mood swings. It's difficult for you to calm down after you've been upset. So again, this is the overactive part of your brain going in. Now it's designed again to say, if there's a threat, let's be prepared. Let's send out warning signals so that we are prepared for the danger. But your brain, and again, your brain and your body are different. So if your mind tells your brain that there is danger, your brain goes into action. If your mind tells your brain that there is danger, or if your mind senses or creates danger, it may not be real. If your mind creates danger, your brain doesn't know the difference. Your brain simply says, the mind said that there is trouble, so we must release the chemicals, we must release all of the things that we need so that we can be safe. So that's what happens. Your brain is constantly trying to keep you safe. So you don't have to get mad at your brain. You have to say, thank you, brain. You're working to keep me safe. I have to create this system in my mind so that my mind can say, oh, wait, that's not a real threat. I can calm down. I'm actually safe. I can calm down. Okay, so that's the amygdala. The next part is the hippocampus, and this is the memory process. So the hippocampus is in charge of organizing and storing our memories. Okay, so it helps to organize and store things from our memory. Trauma actually can shrink that part of the brain and its functions, leading to gaps in the memory. That's why oftentimes when clients come in with a lot of trauma from childhood, they'll say, I really don't remember much from my childhood. I really don't remember that much from this, or everything feels blurry, because that part of their brain has actually shrank some, and it's no longer organized. So when they do have memories, they're not always organized. They're kind of fragmented. They're all over the place. There's often, with this hippocampus, there's difficulty distinguishing between the past and the present, again, because everything is kind of blurred within their memory, and feeling like trauma is still happening. So feeling like there's still that pending doom or that pending trauma over them. So think about, again, why this is so important, that we can start to learn how to navigate these parts of the brain and our nervous system. Because if your body is constantly searching for threat, if your body is constantly releasing all of these chemicals to have you on high alert, your body was never designed to stay in that function. Your body was designed to be relaxed. However, if you're constantly looking for that, that's a lot of chemicals released in your body, a lot of cortisol, which is what they call the stress hormone, released inside your body, that now becomes harsh on your body, and it has physical reactions. A lot of people have physical hurts, pains, diseases, because they're having so much stress inside their body. All right, the last thing is the prefrontal cortex, and it's the rational thinker. This is the part of the brain that's responsible for logic, decision making, emotional regulation. Trauma causes you to just kind of check out with that. Okay, so you have trouble concentrating. Your decisions may be poor. You're very impulsive, have a lot of emotional outbursts, difficulty solving problems under stress. That's why they will tell you, if you're like a foster parent and you have a kid, or if even your children have experienced stress, when they lash out and they're doing these things, what we want to do is match their energy. They're having a breakdown and we want to yell, stop acting like a baby. What you really want to do, hold their hands, calm their nervous system so that they can get back into a logical place, because logic has left the building. I tell people all the time, logic for the brain is considered a luxury. Okay. So if you see somebody and they do something that you consider that's so stupid, because logic, when it's time for survival, logic is not thinking about, or the brain is not going, let's logically sit down and talk to this bear. The brain says, let's either get ready to run or fight. So the brain logic leaves. And so you have to calm yourself enough for logic to even be able to operate. That's why you see people get trapped in those fight, freeze, or fawn responses, because they're not operating in that prefrontal cortex where the rational brain is. That part just kind of checks out, and they come into full survival mode. So when we live with chronic stress or unhealed trauma, all three of those areas are dysregulated. This isn't a character flaw. This is not because you're a bad person. This is because your body is literally dysregulated. Our brain is doing its job to protect itself. Research shows that prolonged trauma increases cortisol, which is, again, we talked about the stress hormone, which disrupts our brain function, our immune system, and our emotional stability. But again, there's good news. Just as trauma changes our brain, healing can reshape that. So I want to talk about this is kind of really where I wanted to get into. I want you guys to understand what I was saying before I get too deep into it. I'm going to share some very practical tools that you can use to help regulate your body and your nervous system, help regulate the brain and the nervous system as you're moving forward. So, a couple of these you may have heard, some of them may be new to you. If you heard about them or if you've used them and got good results, let me know in the comments. So, the first one is really easy. It's a breathing technique, and it is called, or it's just a counting breathing technique. You're going to inhale for 4 counts, you hold that for 7 counts, and you exhale for 8 counts. Okay, 4, 7, 8 breathing. That's what it's called. 4, 7, 8 breathing. So you inhale for 4, hold it for 7, and you exhale for 8. We're actually going to walk through that really quickly so that you can understand. You guys share this, especially this part, I think is going to help a lot of people learn how to regulate their nervous system. 4, 7, 8 breathing. So again, inhale. And so I'm going to do this with you, and you can put in the comments how you feel after you do this. So breathe normally. When I say inhale, you're going to inhale through your nose. When I say hold it, you're going to hold it. And then when we say exhale, you're going to exhale out of your mouth. In through the nose, hold it, exhale out of the mouth. Okay, we're ready? All right, so let's inhale. 2, 3, 4. Now hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that is the count. You would do that several times. That's actually really good. It's a really good technique to use before bed. It helps, again, to calm your body system down so that you can begin to relax. So that's 4, 7, 8. Inhale for 4, hold it for 7, exhale for 8. As you do that several times, your body begins to get a sense of calm. It starts to say, we're safe. It's okay for us to relax. So that's the first one, 4, 7, 8 breathing. The second one is a grounding technique. We often tell people to use this if they are having panic attacks. So this is one, you can use it if you're not having a panic attack, but it is one that is often used in the midst of panic attacks. So if someone struggles with panic attacks or something like that, here is a grounding technique. And it's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're literally just going to go through and engage your senses. Why is engaging your senses important? You're getting out of your mind and getting into the present. Okay. So you're looking for 5 things that you can see. 5 things you can see. I'm actually going to put this in the comments. So 5 things you can see. 4 things that you can touch. Okay. 4 things that you can touch. 3 things that you can hear. So 4 things you can touch. 3 things that you can hear. 2 things that you can smell. Okay. And 1 thing you can taste. What are you doing? Again, you're getting out of your mind, especially during a panic attack. Your body is releasing so much. It can feel like heart attacks. People go to the hospital all the time because they think they are having heart attacks. And in reality, they are having panic attacks. So you would look and say 5 things that I can see. I see a ring lamp in front of me. I see a desk in front of me. I see a computer. I see a chair, and I see a window to my side. So you're identifying 5 things, and you look and you say, what are 4 things I can touch? I have a blanket laying over me right now on my legs. I can touch that. So I would feel how that blanket feels to my fingers. I would rub the desktop and see how that feels. I may even rub over the computer, over the keys on the computer. Why? These are different touches, and they're keeping me grounded in the here and now. And then 2 things you can smell. So you may have a perfume on and you smell that. You can smell your deodorant or your shampoo that's in your hair. Those are all techniques that you use. And then 1 thing you can taste. You may not have anything available. You can just think of something. What's something I can taste? If you have something, though, it's nice. If you have water, you could drink water. If you have a little snack, you could put that in your mouth. Why? It's helping you stay grounded and reminding your body that you are safe. So I'm going to put that 2 things you smell. And 1 thing you can taste. All right. Okay. So the next tool we have, so we got number one was the 4-7-8 breathing. The next tool we had was the grounding. The next tool is kind of simple, but it's really powerful. It's just a simple swaying, keeping you grounded. So it says like a gentle sway. You can rock while you're listening to worship music if you're a believer. You can rock while you're saying your prayer. What is it doing? It's just grounding your nervous system. Rhythm helps your nervous system to restore flow, helps the nervous system to begin to kind of flow naturally, right? And so you just begin to rock, and you can recite your favorite scripture. What are you doing? You're reminding your body, and you're reminding your mind and your body that you are safe. So you can listen again to worship music. You can listen to your scriptures. You can do any of those things to help you. Okay. The next thing, there's this tool called bilateral stimulation. I got to quit rocking because I got in the habit. Bilateral stimulation. And this is literally tapping a part of your body. So we're going to do, I'm going to, can you see me? I think I froze for a second. I'm going to show you guys how to do a couple of these bilateral stimulations. You're just going to be hitting your body, not hard. You're just going to tap on your body, certain parts, so that you can begin to understand how to regulate the nervous system. So the first one, I hope you guys can see me. I'm going to step back a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so I think y'all can see me a little bit. Okay, so one that you can do is just simply tapping your side like this. Okay, you're just tapping. Nothing major. It's just tapping your side, kind of the upper pelvic region. You're just tapping. That helps to regulate and center your brain. The other one crosses the body, which helps the brain to start again to center. There's something, and I don't even know exactly what it is, but when your body has to cross, it helps. So there's the knee taps. You simply cross one knee with the other hand. So you're tapping the opposite knee. I don't know if you can see my knee that high. Crossing the opposite knee with the opposite hand, right? So you're just crossing. All of these are just simple techniques to help your body stay grounded, so that you are able, I hope that helps you guys, and you can do that when you're feeling out of sorts. Now, again, I said this earlier, I want y'all to go back and watch Pastor Sean Strickland, her video on rewiring the brain, because once we get that spiritual part, there are some natural things that you can do to help stay grounded and regulated. So that bilateral stimulation is some easy things. You also could do the bilateral stimulation with your shoulders, keeping them that way and just tapping, crossing. You see my arms are crossed. You can cross it and tap. These are bilateral because they're causing your one side of your body to go across the other side, helping your brain to communicate more effectively from both sides. So again, you would keep it there and you would just tap and stimulate. There are other type of tapping things that I don't know as much about, and I'm going to learn more about that and some breathe work and all of that stuff. But right now, I wanted to give you guys just some very simple yet practical tools. The other one is breath and prayer scriptures. So you put your hand on your heart. You can think of a scripture and you inhale one thing and you exhale the other thing. So for example, you say, when you inhale, I inhale with God is with me. I exhale, I will not fear. So you inhale, God is with me. Exhale, I will not fear. So why are you doing that? You're just calming your brain and reminding yourself together with the scripture and your breathing. So it's reinforcing every time I inhale, what am I thinking or saying? God is with me. When I exhale, there is no reason to fear. I will not fear. That's called, that's just scriptural meditation with some deep breathing exercises. Also, very simply, basically, it's kind of saying some affirmations with your hand touching your heart. So you put your hand on your heart and you just speak those affirmations. I'm safe. I'm seen. God is with me. All of those types of things. Why? You're reminding yourself. This is helping to ground you. With your hand being on your heart helps to ground you. You feel yourself. You can feel your heartbeat. And as you begin to say those things, it's reminding your mind that you are safe. Then the mind tells the brain, we can calm down. Okay. The last one we're going to talk about is, they call it the VOO sound. So VOO, VOO sound. And it is basically, you're taking deep breaths in, but on your exhale, you're going to make the sound VOO coming out. That activates the vagal nervous system. Again, just part of your nervous system, but it helps it to release the stored tension that's in your body. So you're going to inhale. So it's something about that vibration that helps to kind of trigger that vagus nerve, and it helps you to calm down. God is so good the way he created our bodies, that so many times people get angry because the trauma occurred. They get angry with God because the trauma occurred, not realizing that God gave you everything you needed to deal with trauma before you were ever created. Isn't that beautiful? People get angry because the trauma came, but trauma comes because hurt, anger, all of those bad things, they come because sin is in the world. So bad things happen. But God says, before I'm going to put you there, I'm going to equip your body. I'm going to equip you with everything you need to walk out of what the enemy sent. There we go. I'm going to give you everything you need to walk out of what the enemy sent for evil. I'm going to give you the tools so that it turns out for your good. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. I love Jesus. I love Jesus. Okay. Because I get so many people and they come in and they're dealing with offense and they're dealing with anger because they said, how could God let this happen to me? How could God do this? And they're really, really, really angry with God, and they're really angry with the world that something bad happened to you. Now, let me say this. I hate that something bad happened to you. I hate that you had to experience trauma. The thing I'm telling you is to not get so stuck on the anger that you experience the trauma that you miss that there is actually freedom from the trauma. Okay. So let's talk about neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is our brain's ability to change shape, move, grow, all of that kind of stuff, right? Which means we're not stuck. We have the ability to grow and change and create new pathways in our brain. I tell you this, guys, all the time when I'm doing these. I grew up in the country. We had trails, right? So a trail was a shortcut that someone had walked so many times that it kept out all the bushes. Where my mom's house, where I grew up, there was a house, and then my aunt lived one street over. Well, we could walk all the way around the street, or we could cut through the bushes and get straight to almost to her house, probably in 5 minutes. Okay. So we walked the trail so much that eventually, or we walked that path so much that eventually it became a trail. What's a trail? A trail is nothing's growing there anymore. And we can get there really fast without a lot of hesitation. That's what happens inside of our brain. Because when we're talking about the rewiring, trauma happened and it started to create a pathway to a self-protection mode. God never designed us to live under self-protection. He designed for us to live under his protection. He never designed us to live under self-protection, but his protection. But when trauma happens, when bad things happen, our brain says, no, I have to protect. So it takes the lead. And so we're going there automatically. We get to, I have to do this by myself. Nobody's going to be there for me. I have to protect myself. All of those things, right? And so our brain creates that pathway. So what we're learning now through neuroplasticity and all of those things is that we can create new trails, and we can leave those trails of self-reliance. We can leave that stuff alone for so long that other things start to grow up in it, and it's no longer a clear path for us. Does that make sense? Y'all let me know if this is making sense and if you're understanding, if you have any questions or comments. So one of the ways that we're going to talk about the retraining or the neuroplasticity, there are a couple tools that you can use to help on this journey as well. So affirmations, I put affirmations plus the identity in Christ, choosing affirmations that are not just some frou-frou thing, but based on what God said about you. So like we were saying earlier, putting your hand on your heart, and you can put those affirmations are, I am whole, I am loved, I am chosen. We read Ephesians 1, I don't know, like a year for maybe over a year. We read that same scripture, and in that scripture it talks about I'm loved, I am chosen, I am all of these things, I'm redeemed, all of these things, I'm adopted. That was to begin to get our mindset to be so different from I'm rejected, nobody loves me, I don't have any help. Okay, so these are things that can help you. These affirmations: I am not the trauma that happened to me, I am God's child. You're recreating things in your mind to help your brain relax. Another tool is journaling, writing out what you've been carrying and how you're releasing that, and how you're taking on the identity that Christ has given you. So we talked about with the polyvagal, it's always talking about scanning for danger. Gratitude journals help you to start to identify the good things in your life, because your brain has been trained. That's that pathway. Your brain says, look for the danger, where the gratitude journal begins to help you shape to look for good things in your life. Hey, yesterday, I had to go and I was getting the what they call it, the real ID. And I had waited in line for about 2 hours, or waited at the DMV for about 2 hours at one place. And then I had to leave. And because I had a client, I went back and waited for almost 2 hours. And right when I needed to leave to go back for another client, it was probably 2 people in front of me. And I was like, I don't want to leave now and come back and have to wait again. The woman in front of me, she said, you can go in front of me. And I was like, thank you so much. That allowed me to get what I needed to get done without having to leave after I had waited for hours and hours to then have to come back and wait for hours and hours again. So that gratitude says, hey, I instead of looking for bad things, I just found something that was really good. And so I pondered and thought about that. I was like, she didn't have to do that, because she had also waited for hours and hours. She could have very likely said, or very possibly said, I don't want to keep waiting. But she turned, she said, because we were just talking in the line, and I said, I hope I have time, to get it done before I have to leave. But if not, I'll get it done at some point. She was really gracious, and she turned around, she said, you go ahead, baby. I went up there, worked out just wonderfully. That is why you have to train your brain to look for the good things, train your brain to see the things to be grateful for. Okay. This next one, I really like: visualization. Visualization is so very powerful. So one of the things is picturing yourself sitting with Jesus as he's healing you from pain. Like, allow yourself to see Jesus in your circumstances. Allow yourself to see Jesus talking to you or comforting you. Those things help you. Visualize yourself walking in wholeness. Visualize yourself responding differently. I had someone to do a visualization yesterday in a session, and just from doing the visualization, their body started to react, and they were able to get some insight about their physical body because of a visualization that wasn't even real. They were able to say, ooh, this is what happens. And we were able to say, okay, because you can see that, let's shift it. Now let's see yourself responding differently. Let's see yourself responding with calmness. See yourself doing this. Now, what are you going to do? The person could feel their heart rate going down, even through the visualization. So this isn't just your imagination, it's spiritual and a neurological strategy. So it's not just it is your imagination, but it's not just your imagination. It is a spiritual and a neurological strategy, because it is retraining your brain to see something different, expect something different, and to give your body a new sense of calm and safety. Because ultimately, that's what the body or the brain is trying to do. Give yourself a new sense of safety. Okay. Remember, I got a few more things. Remember that you are not alone. Healing does not happen for you, should not happen in a vacuum. You live in a community. Surround yourself with people who support your healing. Okay. James 5:6 tells us to confess our faults one to another that we may be healed. Oftentimes, people think that you have to struggle alone. What I want to encourage you is that you don't have to struggle alone. There are people that love you. You can go to therapy to talk through it. Get a community of people, again, who are genuine, who are walking through healing or are whole themselves, all of those things. Surround yourself with a community that helps you, because one of the things that happen is in isolation, all of these things can just begin to make you feel like that's the way you have to do life. But when someone is there to say, hey, you don't have to struggle like that, that gives you this courage to step out and do something different. Okay. So God uses people, therapy, and community to help regulate our system and renew our mind. God uses people. They show research about like people when you are in a relationship, or even your children, kind of like it can be romantic or not, laying with the parent or being beside someone that you feel safe with, they fall asleep a lot easier. Why? Because their nervous system says it's safe enough to go to sleep. Your nervous system begins. So that shows that being around people who are safe for you and make you feel safe helps to regulate your nervous system. Do not try to do life alone, because you will struggle unnecessarily, right? When there is so much help out there to help you. This is another one that I think a lot of people take for granted, and they just kind of dismiss it. One of the commandments that God gave was to rest. Most people never even consider the power of rest. And he talks about giving us a Sabbath. How many people actually take time for a day? Because I know, and again, I'm a Christian. A lot of people go, well, Sunday is my Sabbath. But if you work on Sundays, and work meaning maybe you're preaching, maybe you're doing all of these things and you're serving, where do you allow yourself time to have rest? You have to incorporate it. God did not just say rest because he didn't have anything else to say. He said it because it was important to our functioning. So rest is a holy tool. It is not laziness. There is a difference. Now, laziness exists, okay? There is a difference between rest and laziness. You want to rest because it keeps you from getting burned out. It keeps you from the stress, hustle, grind culture. It helps your body to rejuvenate and stay calm. Okay. So we're going to do a couple things, and then we're going to be done today. Thank y'all for staying with me. If this has helped you, make sure you share, tag this with anybody that you think could help. So our kind of closing exercise, if you will, we're going to do we're going to just do some slow, deep breaths. And I want to just give you guys some encouragement. So what I want you to do is inhale. And when you inhale, I want you to think, Jesus, you are here with me. And when you exhale, I want you to exhale, I have everything I need. So you're going to inhale, Jesus is here with me. On the exhale, you're just going to think, I have everything I need. Okay. So let's do inhale and exhale. You will notice if you're doing inhales, your chest should rise on the inhale because you're taking that breath in. So inhale, Jesus, you are here with me. And exhale, I have everything I need, right? And so what are you doing? You're calming your body. You're calming your nervous system. You're retraining your brain that it doesn't have to always be on high alert. Your body is not fighting against you. Your body is trying to protect you. However, trauma can come and hijack the way things are supposed to operate. And God has given us tools to help reestablish a healthy brain functioning. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Y'all go and watch Pastor Sean's live from Monday. I don't know the exact title, but it says something about rewiring the brain. You should be able to go and find it live. And it says something about rewiring the brain. That was from Monday. You can get it on YouTube as well as Facebook. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not broken. You are becoming. You have Holy Spirit. You have the mind of Christ, and you have the tools to be restored, mind, body, and spirit. So God designed you to heal. He walks with you every step of the journey. Do not try to do this journey alone. Healing is beautiful. It takes a commitment to it, and you can have the freedom that God has already given to you. So again, let me know which strategy that we talked about today stood out for you. If there was one in particular that kind of stood out to you that seemed to help more, or that you have questions about or comments about, let me see those before we end today's broadcast. Let me see what y'all got. Any technique or strategy that kind of stood out. So again, I want to say thank you guys. A reminder, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. Join me back here next Thursday. We were going to continue just learning about mental health, growing, because God wants his people free, and he is coming after everything that is between us and our freedom. And so we're so thankful that God has given us tools to live the life that he created us to live. Even though the enemy came to try to attack, God gave us amazing tools and amazing people surrounding us to help us. The breathing help, very good. Do that at nighttime, Camille, to help you calm down. Yeah, do that every night to help your body start to regulate. I know, again, trauma can begin to speak. We're going to do some things that help our bodies to regulate. I will keep teaching this, Pastor Sean. Thank you. I told when I saw that live, I got really, really excited because I've been reading and learning about this stuff myself. And I said, Pastor Sean is always, they talk about the teacher, she's a fast runner. And so even though I'm like, I'm going to start teaching this stuff, she jumps out there, which gives me encouragement as well. So thank you for joining. I'm glad you watched today. It keeps me saying I'm going to keep doing this because I know that there are some missing pieces when it comes to us being our best self, our mental health, our body, our mind, our spirit, all of that ties together. And we're pulling pieces together. This is the time that God has designed for us to live in freedom. I hope you guys had a great day. It looks like the 4-7-8 breathing was helpful for a lot of people. If you have questions or anything, let me know and I will be happy to help. How do you recognize if you deal with trauma? I'm going to be honest, Didi, most people have something traumatic in their life, if we're being honest. But one of the things I would say is pay attention to your patterns. So like we talked about, I don't know when you joined, but we talked about some patterns with fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So if you get in situations and you realize you're having anger outbursts, or you just freeze up, or you keep repeating cycles or patterns that you go, I don't know why I keep doing this. That is possibly, strongly, highly possible, some type of trauma response. And trauma doesn't always have to be somebody attacked you in the parking lot. Trauma can be, again, the loss of a person you love. Trauma can be something with our the weather, some kind of storm came through and you lived through that. All types of things can lead to trauma. But again, it goes back. So I would encourage you to go back. I don't know if you caught the first part. And if not, let me know. If you guys have any more questions, I think we're good. Can you share the 5 senses? Yes. 5 things you can touch. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. All right. I love y'all. Let's come right back here next Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. You guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you later. If you have any questions, you can always shoot me an inbox message, and we can cover it on another Minding My Mental Health. See you later. Bye-bye.